Right, so a 1-inch brush, and then just underneath this dart I'm just going to pull down slightly. Just slightly. You guys might not even recognise what I'm doing, notice it at all. So I'm just pulling a slight little reflection down for them. There. Very subtle. Really subtle. That's not rolling in the background at all. They've already got blue shadows underneath, so it's just this one now. Pull the bottom of it. I'm just tickling it. Make it look nice and wet. The reflection. Just enough, you don't need a lot. There. So again, I'm just getting a roll of paint on the knife. And I'm just going to block in for this a little bit. Just in here, this bit of land that we've got going on. See, I want that to come right through basically to about there. That's more like it. So you can touch with the knife and just allow that to graze over the surface slightly over there. And then on the waterline it needs to be pretty flattish. So up in there you can just use whatever paint you've got left on the bottom, but leave those little light areas in between. I love doing this. Just be patient and take your time with it, no need to rush. Very happy with that. It's good. Right, so we've just got this little island down here now, which I've made. I want to go back over that with the knife. That's it. Darken it off tight a little bit. A little one just there in the water. Something about like that. Got some thinned down paint on my brush, and then with that I can see the dark already up in here. Just see it through. So I'm just going to put some of this colour in there to start with. Maybe a bit more crimson to that. Even a bit of yellow, because with the blue it'll turn it a browny colour. I want it a very dark brown. So black in with that as well. Black, blue, bit of brown. Basically want to paint underneath there just to get some darkening first of all. We know that there's a stack that comes up there, comes back down. Just try and go inside of it, just inside of the lines that you want. And you can just block that in. It's dark at the moment. Same in there. And just come all the way down. And there's, like I say, a bit of paint thinner in with this as well. Right, so I am just using a really thin dark brown, Van Dyke brown you could use. I'm just mixing it myself with the colours that I've got on here, with a lavender colour, a bit of yellow to it, a bit of crimson, just a really good dark colour, a little bit of black in that as well. There. So with that colour I'm just going to come up in here now and really try to put these tiny little details in that we've got. You don't want your brush to be overloaded, So just enough paint on it basically for what you want. So I'm just going to rest my hand on there, and then in fact I might be at that because I haven't painted that yet. Yeah, that's good. So I'm just going to put in this little peak first. Now it comes straight down, and then at the side of that there's another one. Again comes straight down, and again. Reload your brush again because it's mixing with the liquid white on there. And then we'll just put one in there. That's good. Good and dark. Again, you got to keep reloading all the time for this. Little chimney stack just there, and then a flat roof. Thin is so important when you do this. Just helps it to slip and slide over there. Got a little chimney again. All these slanted roofs. And that one's a slanted one as well. Just to that side. Right through. And then I usually just paint up underneath them slightly. Just lock it in. Just silhouette at the moment. Now we do actually have a little area that comes off of this. Just there. And then we have a little on the end. That's it. That's the shape that I'm after. And then another flat roof underneath that. And a chimney stack again. One there and one at the side of it. Blocking in between. And then we've got a lovely little chimney there with a thin top, and then I go underneath it twice on either side, and just makes it look nice. Again, and this top part comes in to about there, and it goes straight across and then down. Try to put your hands anywhere near the water because that's still wet. It's a wet on wet technique that we're using here, so the paint always needs to stay wet. You can switch into traditional techniques now and again and let it dry, but for this it's a wet on wet. Right, so I'm just going to come down with this big brush now all the way and create that edge that we need for there. That's the one. From the very top actually, straight down. And then just on the edge we've got something else on there. A little area which is a bit bigger. But I'll wait for that. There's no rush for that. I'm just going to do the opposite side of the castle now. Just in here. I'm always using that mark that I put on originally. Following the gesso. That's why you put it on there. That's your guide for your castle. And then inside that you can just block it in basically. Just in there. Right, well we've also got some land just down in here as well. So I'm just going to mix up some fresh colour for that. Right, so I'm just going to put this bit of a strip of land in just in here that this castle is actually sitting on. You keep changing the twang of the dark because I like to use sometimes lavender colours in with it. Other times I'll be using more greens and reds with it. There we go. That little island just comes out to there and then it goes back on itself. Just there. Block it in basically silhouette at first. Totally in silhouette. Come down just there. There's a little rock there as well. Tiny little rock just in there. A little peninsula. And then that I should just right out into the water. Came behind it. And just in here. And just let it touch and then just pull as well. Because there's some, it's not all just solid. There's a little rock on the top of that. Just in there. And then that land actually comes just down. There, that's it. And then it attaches itself to that. So it's part and parcel of it. And then underneath it, I'm just going to pull again like I did last time over here. I just want to get the shape for the bottom of this. So it's coming along something about like that to there. Because just in here I've actually got a little rock that comes down to there. Actually, this starts a little bit higher, starts about there, and then that comes down and goes into the water as well. And water line just there. Block in, and there you go. I'll put a shadow in eventually, but for now I'm just blocking it in. This one's to actually come up a bit higher. Just there. That's cool. Get all that paint, just blocking here properly. A lot of paint on there. Come back then. Just there. At first it will mix a bit with the liquid white still underneath. So what I tend to do is I'll just leave it and not worry about it for a short time and then come back to it, and usually when you go over it again it'll be much darker. Also, we're going to have a shadow in for this. a reflection in the water. So what I'll do, I'll just pull a bit more of that dark just on there, and then I'll relax for a short while. I'm going to use a 1-inch brush. Get that same good old dark colour that we've got. And I'm just going to follow that down and indicate some of that in the water. Follow it down, there, straight down, straight underneath that. Also, this is going to have a reflection for it as well. This water, so you can just touch the edge of the water there, just touch it a little bit and pull that colour down for a reflection. Same in here. Right, I'm going to get a big blender brush now, quite a decent sized brush. I'm just going to go across with this now, take off any excess paint I had on from before. It's very dry though, not a lot of paint in it at all. Just go right across that. And you will pick up colour when you do this, but I don't want you to worry about it. You're going to sharpen this edge up as well afterwards. There. See, just bring that in from the edge into it. That's good. Happy with that. Just blend into the bottom areas a little bit. Right, and then back to the knife. So we've got a reflection in for that, and that's important. Sometimes I just want to touch it again. There, that's better. Much softer now. Perfect. Right. Get the dark on the knife again, and then you can actually run your knife through from here right through, just like so. Just to that I want it to be dark. So you pull a bit of dark down with a palette knife, or you can use a brush for this if you choose. Just like to use a knife for it. And that's like a little banking on the water's edge there. A little dark edge for it. That's good. Right, I'm just needing to make this one slightly bigger. It needs to be a lot bigger actually, because it's bigger than the other one even that we've got in there. So I'm just going to bring it along to about that sort of point. Lock it in. Even though this is in silhouette, you'll still end up seeing some of this castle. Just slight little bits of highlight is what you will see. So you can always keep adapting it and changing it slightly. I actually need to do this reflection again because it needed to be darker. Just down there on the water's edge. I actually touched this. I don't mind that, I want it to be quite dark. I can put a waterline back in again later. It's not a big deal. I want it darker than I had it just in that particular spot. Just let that go up in there. And then the darkest part is there. Just make that quite a bit darker just down in there. Because the liquid white, I'm fighting it in a way. There, that's good. could do the same on this side, put a bit more pressure on. And then we'll use a big brush again. And we'll just go just either side, right through it. Don't mind if you get a bit of something on there colour wise, like so. It'll just blend away and make it vanish completely, but I just want that in there quite subtly, so then you can use a clean knife and you can just run through that, just run straight through it all the way. See that just gives you a little waterline underneath that. So I am just going to put a little strip of land just in here now, bring it through from the right, from the left to the right, just in there. It's going to be a bit bigger now because obviously you're getting closer and closer, so you'll start to see a few more of these rocks and stuff that we've got on top of this. And you can go quite thick because you're right in the foreground. This canvas is a pretty rough canvas anyway, so it fits in with it. Rustic. I love to use thick paint like this though in the foreground because it just into that dark colour that we've just been using. Just going to tap, push and get a ridge. So a ridge of paint on there. I want to put some little trees just in here, but I don't want it to stand out too much, so I'm just going to tap it in there first. I want it to be quite subtle. Just there. Just these are just the leaves, and then I'll come back and I will paint some little branches and trunks going into them. There. Just come right down to there, like little bushes then. There we go. And then you can use your liner brush and you can just put a few little things in there, sticks and twigs, holding that up. So I'm just using a mixture of burnt sienna and Van Dyke brown, and then into that I'm just going to mix some titanium white. Just titanium white. That's a bit too bright actually, so I'll put it to one side and I'll just use a little bit of it in with that darker brown there. I want it to be a semi-shade, I don't want it to be really bright, just like that, that's perfect. Now I can just run through the knife colour. I want to put a bit of that other colour that we had before in with it, so it's not going to sit out too different. There, that's cool. Right, so just on this area here, coming down from about there, just going to touch with the palette knife a little bit of that colour in, and it actually comes along the top as well, just in there. You can actually put it on with the knife and then I'll come back with a brush afterwards. And we've got the same going right down into there. And just that colour tone difference will make this look smart. Got a bit of that up in there. Just from the edge of that. Just from the side of it. Don't go right to the edge. A bit up there where that goes in, like that, and then the rest of it behind is more or less dark, got a bit of something there. So now I just wipe the knife off, clean that off, and then I'm just going to come back to this little brush that I've got here. And you can actually come right over all of that colour and allow it to mix and blend, so it's not too bright then. This is a textured canvas, so you could see these little holes on it, but now with the brush I'll just blend it all in there perfectly for you. That'll allow us to put some windows in for his castle. Good. Right down. I'm happy with that. Sort that edge out. Right, now into that I'm going to use a tiny bit more on the brush, and I'm just going to go on this edge here, right down this edge. Be careful not to go into the actual water with it. Have a steady hand. Just a bit of something, not a highlight, but just a little bit of something going on in there. Now back to my liner brush, and you get the dark on it. And then just up in here we've got a little window. Put that in with the dark. Something like that. Now we've got another one a bit further down. Reload regular. Right. I've actually got an area just in here where there's a line. A dark line coming down. Just there. And then I'll use a brush to just soften that off. Don't want it to be very distinct, that. That's it. And then I come back again and I'll just pick out a couple of little windows just in there as well. And there's like a castle doorway down here. Just in the dark now. That's it. Because under here now, all the way across, it's going to be dark for rocks and stuff that's in front of that. So I'm using my bigger brush. I can just come in front of that and just make that dark. There we go. That's great, and bring that doorway down to there. That's good. We're getting there. There's going to be a few highlights on here as well, but I'm just going to concentrate on this castle at the moment. There's a window there, got a window there. Loads of little windows all over the place, basically, in these old castles. Little indications and stuff as well.